What's good, YouTube? Sensational Sr7 here, and I'm back with another Tom Clancy's The Division Vendor Reset video. We're here for February 14th, 2020's Vendor Reset. So let's get right into this and see what we got good for this week. Okay, so for our first gear items, we're going to head over to Camp Hudson. Here, the weapons vendor has a Sr7 Suppressor with 18% crit hit damage, 2.50% stability, and 6% headshot damage. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the Meat Locker. Here, the weapons vendor has an M249B with a gear score of 282. It has 21% damage to targets out of cover, and the talents it has is Prepared, Self-Preserved, and Adept. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the base operations. Here, the Dark Zone gear vendor has a classic M60 with a gear score of 281. It has 20% damage to targets out of cover, and the talents it has is Ferocious, Adept, and Vicious. For our next gear items, we're still at the base operations, and the gear vendor here has a prototype performance mod with 6.50% Seeker Mine explosion radius. For our next gear items, we're still at the base operations. Head over to the advanced weaponry vendor, and here we got an MP7 with a gear score of 275. It has 18.50% crit hit chance, and the talents it has is Deadly, Commanding, and Competent. And also here we got an enhanced ACRE with a gear score of 278. It has 20% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is Prepared, Talented, and Responsive. Also here we got a military Scar H with a gear score of 274. It has 144% headshot damage. Talents it has is Determined, Deadly, and Cool-Headed. Also here we got a tactical M249 Para with a gear score of 260. It has 18% damage to targets out of cover, and the talents it has is Deadly, Competent, and Fierce. Also here we got an extended magazine with 110% magazine size, 2.50% crit hit chance, and 4% crit hit damage. For our next gear items, you want to head over to a special equipment vendor, and if you like the pecan, we have one here with a gear score of 259. It has 18% damage to targets out of cover, and the talents it has is Fierce, Deadly, and Pecan. Also here we got a Cassidy with a gear score of 280. It has 317.50% stagger, and the talents it has is Fierce, Competent, and Boomstick. Also here we got a Liberator with a gear score of 271. It has 18% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is Accurate, Fierce, and Responsive. Also here we got a Historian with a gear score of 267. It has 152% headshot damage, and the talents it has is Deadly, Meticulous, and Historian Repeats. If you're a fan of the Police T821, we have one here with a gear score of 277. It has 22.50% crit hit chance. The talents it has is Competent, Fierce, and Talented. Also here we have a custom M44 with a gear score of 262. It has 155% headshot damage, and the talents it has is Brutal, Dominant, and Destructive. Also here we got an Operator mask with the talent Enduring on there. It has a gear score of 270. The armor is 879. Its roll for firearms 1,245. And the attributes it has is Exotic Damage Resilience and Increased Kill XP. Also here we got a Gunslinger Vest with the talent Rapid on there. It has a gear score of 274. It has 1,887 armor. Its roll for electronics 1,259. And the attributes it has is Health, Enemy Armor Damage, and Increased Kill XP. Also here we got a prototype stamina mod with 253 stamina and 3,239 skill power. Also here we got a prototype performance mod with 3.50% ballistic shield damage. Also here we got a heavy magazine spring with 4.50% reload speed, 11.50% magazine size, and 9.50% rate of fire. Also here we got a large suppressor FDE with 19% crit hit damage, 3% crit hit chance, and 2% accuracy. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the Cavern. Here the gear vendor has a tactical vest with the talent Vigorous on there. It has a gear score of 268. The armor is 1,725. Its roll for firearms 1,255. And the attributes it has is Skill Haste, Enemy Armor Damage, and Ammo Capacity. For our next gear items, you want to head over to Camp Clinton. Here the special equipment vendor has a Cassidy with a gear score of 268. It has 340% stagger, and the talents it has is Sustained, Deadly, and Boomstick. Also here we have a Liberator with a gear score of 260. It has 20% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is Accurate, meticulous, and fierce. Also here we got a G36 enhanced with a gear score of 276. It has 21% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is responsive, adept, and focused. Also here we got a police MK17 with a gear score of 279. It has 149% headshot damage, and the talents it has is proficient, intense, and prepared. Also here we got an M249B with a gear score of 272. It has 21% damage to targets out of cover, and the talents this one has is deadly, destructive, and sustain. Also here we got a Gunslinger Vest with the talent rapid on there. It has a gear score of 269. The armor is 1,832, and its roll for electronics 1,155. And the attributes we have here is health on kill, skill haste, and ammo capacity. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to Wolves Den. Here the weapons vendor has a military M870 with a gear score of 268. It has 345.50% stagger, and the talents it has is responsive, destructive, and fierce. And also here we got an extended magazine with 110% magazine size, 2.50% crit hit chance, and 5.40% rate of fire. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to the last call. Here the weapons vendor has a tactical SA58. If you like this weapon, this one has a gear score of 282. It has 21% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is competent, focused, and responsive. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the ward. Here the gear vendor has a prototype performance mod with 7.50% ballistic shield health. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the southpaw. Here the gear vendor has a tactical vest with the talent reckless on there. It has a gear score of 269. The armor is 1,763. Its roll for electronics 1,228. And the attributes it has is skill haste, all resistance, and increased kill XP. And also I mentioned this because I'm here, we got a prototype performance mod with 7% support station range. For our next gear items, you want to head over to West 31st Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a black market RPK-74E with a gear score of 280. It has 21% damage to targets out of cover. The talents it has is capable, adept, and prepared. And also here we got an operator pack with the talent inventive on there. It has a gear score of 264. The armor is 1,148. Its roll for stamina 1,170. And the attributes it has is health and disrupt resistance. For our next gear items, you want to head over to West 34th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a Spec Ops pack with the talent Relentless on there. It has a gear score of 272. The armor is 1,259. Its roll for stamina 1,179. And the attributes it has is stability and bleed resistance. And then also I mentioned this because I'm here, we got a prototype performance mod with 3.50% mobile cover damage resilience. For our next gear items, we're going to head to West 39th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a small grip with 19% crit hit damage, 5% reload speed, and 5% optimal range. For our next gear items, you want to head to West 42nd Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has an operator pack with the talent inventive on there. It has a gear score of 273. The armor is 1,270. Its roll for firearms 1,184. And attributes it has is stability and burn resistance. And then also here we got a prototype electronics mod with 261 electronics and 2,973 health. And then also here we got a heavy magazine spring with 4% crit hit damage, 3% crit hit chance, and 10.50% rate of fire. For our next gear items, we're going to head to West 46th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a tactical vest with the talent Reckless on there. It has a gear score of 266. The armor is 1,748. Its roll for firearms 1,154. And the attributes it has is health on kill, enemy armor damage, and increased kill XP. For our next gear items, we're going to head to West 53rd Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has some operator gloves with the talent Savaged on there. It has a gear score of 270. The armor is 947. Its roll for electronics 1,150. And the attributes it has is LMG damage, skill haste, and crit hit chance. And also here we got a prototype firearms mod with 247 firearms. I know it's kind of low, but I figured I'd mention it. And then the attributes for it is 3% skill haste. For our next gear items, you want to head to East 58th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has an operator vest with the talent Vigorous on there. It has a gear score of 264. The armor is 1,724. Its roll for firearms 1,143. And the attributes it has is all resistance, skill haste, and increased kill XP. And also here we got a spec ops pack with the talent specialized on there. It has a gear score of 273. The armor is 1,206. Its roll for stamina 1,271. And the attributes it has is stability and bleed resistance. For our next gear item, is going to head to East 53rd Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has an operator vest with the talent reckless on there. It has a gear score of 266. The armor is 1,740. Its roll for firearms 1,160. And the attributes it has is health on kill, health, and increased kill XP. For our next gear item, is going to head over to East 46th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a Super 90 with a gear score of 282. It has 334% stagger, and the talents it has is fierce, unforgiving, and brutal. For our next gear item, is going to head to East 31st Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a heavy magazine spring with 3% crit hit chance, 11% magazine size, and 9.30% rate of fire. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to DZ2 safe room. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has an operator mask with the talent enduring on there. It has a gear score of 268. The armor is 920. Its roll for electronics 1,128. And the attributes it has is crit hit chance and increased kill XP. And also here we got a spec ops pack with the talent inventive on there. It has a gear score of 267. The armor is 1,154. Its roll for firearms 1,228. And the attributes it has is stability and burn resistance. For our next gear items, you want to head over to DZ3 safe room. Here the Dark Zone weapons vendor has an MP7 with a gear score of 273. It has 21.50% crit hit chance, and the talents it has is dominant, ferocious, and unforgiving. Also here we got a Marine Super 90 with a gear score of 279. It has 302.50% stagger. The talents it has is unforgiving, capable, and competent. And then also here we got a SOCOM MK20 SSR with a gear score of 265. It has 146% headshot damage. The talents it has is ferocious, toxic, and unforgiving. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to DZ5 safe room. Here the Dark Zone weapon mod vendor has a loud vent break with 18% crit hit damage, 4.50% optimal range, and 5.50% headshot damage. For our next gear items, we're going to head to DZ8 safe room. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has a spec ops pack with the talent specialized on there. It has a gear score of 282. The armor is 1,309. Its roll for stamina 1,232. And the attributes it has is health and ammo capacity. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to DZ9 safe room. Here the Dark Zone weapon mod vendor has an extended magazine with 114% magazine size, 4.50% reload speed, and 2.50% crit hit chance. Alright everybody, that's it for our Tom Clancy's The Division vendor reset video for February 14th, 2020's vendor reset. I want to thank everybody who tuned into it. I appreciate that support. Thank everybody who's dropping those likes and subbing to the channel. Appreciate that support. And I will see y'all with the next one, everybody. Take care. Peace.